The Triple M Grill Team.
Not just people in sport, I think people right across, right across Australia, when they were met by the news last night on 9 News when it came on, that Alex McKinnon, the young knight, was told by doctors that it was unlikely that he would walk again. I think everyone was just horrified. Everyone knew, stopped in their tracks, that there was a likelihood, but everyone was praying for a better result than that, and we still continue to pray. The bloke who broke it on 9 News is Neil Breen, and he joins us now on the grill team. G'day, Breeny.
Hey, Matty, how are you, mate?
Yeah, Breeny, I dare say when I saw your report last night, I thought, geez, that must be a tough one for yourself.
Matty, mate, I've been around the block a few times, but this is the worst story I've ever had anything to do with. Like, I look back now at things I've reported on in the past, and I've not always only done sport. I've done all sorts of death and mayhem. But, I've been down in Melbourne for 5 of the last 6 days, and, mate, it's just a really sad set of circumstances down here.
Breeny, just to echo Matty's sentiments, you looked visibly moved when you delivered the news last night. You mentioned in your crossbar back to Pete Overton that you'd spoken to Scott and Kate, which are both Alex McKinnon's parents. Undescribable how they're feeling at the minute. Yeah,
well, I've stayed outside the hospital, but I've seen them in and around. Alex is an only child, MG, and Scott and Kate, his parents, have been doing his bedside in shifts. His girlfriend partner, Teigan Power, was here too for most of the time, but Scott and Kate McKinnon said to her, you go home and try and live a couple of days of normal life. So she went back to Newcastle, and they come and go and they look after him. So the parents playing an active role now, MG. The whole operation which took place, so there was the first operation this time last week where they fused the C4 and the C5 together, because the injury he actually has is he's broken the C4 and the C5 vertebrae, but the C5 vertebrae was badly displaced, right? And then they had to put that back in position, and that is what has caused the damage to the spinal cord. He has got damage to the spinal cord, but it's not severed. He's not severed, so he's not total paraplegia. But anyone who has displacement of a C5 vertebrae, and you can research it all you want, believe me, I've read nothing else for days. Anyone who has has displacement of a C5 vertebrae and damage to the spinal cord will be diagnosed then and there as quadriplegic, and that is what he's been diagnosed with. Now, it doesn't mean he's got total quadriplegia, and it doesn't mean he's like Christopher Reeve. What it means is he's got damage to the spinal cord that is affecting all 4 limbs to varying degrees, either from total to partial. So it's and the spinal cord doctors aren't in the hope business. They are in the here and the now business. They go, we are dealing with where we are, here and now, and this is where you are, right here. And they don't talk to them. They never mention next week or the future or maybes. And so at the moment, Alex is he's virtually in a holding pattern. That stabilisation last Thursday night, where they put a steel plate over the C4 and the C5 and used some of his hip to position them in place properly, that has allowed total protection of the spinal cord so his body can be moved. So he's going through the process now of rigorous physiotherapy that his parents are involved in, where they hit his chest and move him around to try and move the mucus out of his lungs, because his body's not functioning properly. So that's the situation he's in, and the parents, because he can be moved, are desperate now, either tomorrow or Thursday, to fly him to Royal North Shore Hospital to the spinal unit, because they believe that when he gets there, because at the moment he's still in intensive care, listed in as stable but critical. Like, that's where he is. That's not a spinal unit, and they're not critical, and no one's critical of this Alfred Hospital down here. They've done a wonderful job for this young man. But at the spinal unit, that's where his future is, and they want to get him to where his future is.
Neil, before we let you go, did you have an opportunity to talk to Wayne Bennett yesterday? I know Wayne went down to visit the young man.
No, I didn't, and Wayne came and went very privately. He was not seen at the hospital by anyone, but I know that he was in there for quite a deal of time. Alex's parents, like Matt, Kurt Gidley and Bo Scott and Darius Boyd were going too, but they stayed back because his parents didn't think he was up to it to see them. but his parents said he needed Wayne.
Wow.
So Wayne went.
Wow, man. I tell you, Breeny...
Very close, Wayne and him, aren't they?
Well, I'm heard, MG, they said people close to Wayne said they've never seen Wayne like it, and I can understand I can understand why. Breeny, mate, look, mate, we're all continuing to pray for, I won't say a miracle, because they do amazing things in medical science these days. We're just praying that you know, there is more hope.
It's about degrees.
Yeah,
now.
That's
it's
right.
About degrees of injury. So, you know, but, you know, of every single story I've ever done, Matty, this is the one that I wished was wrong.
Yeah, it showed yesterday, mate.
Good on you, Breeny.
Thanks
Appreciate
for your time.
That was Neil Breen for 9 years.
The Triple M Grill Team.